Hey there, Lewis here, and in this video today I'm going to be talking about chords and how they are built. Now, this is a subject that I think is really important for obviously understanding chords, but also for your improvising as well, because it's going to really help you understand how to solo using chord tones, which I'll talk about a bit later on. So we're going to be using this list here of all these different chords, and as you can see already, there's a little formula that's showing exactly how they're built. Now, some people may look at this and it makes sense, and some may look at this and think, what do 1, 3, 5, 8, what does all this mean? Now, I'm just going to go right from the start for those who don't know that. Now, first of all, you need to know a major scale if you haven't played one before. A major scale, let's say if I play it on the 5th fret, that'd be in the key of A. Sounds a bit like this. So you're actually going to, play the major scale, and also it's a good exercise to also know the notes. A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. So that's in the key of A. Now, each note has a relationship against the root being A. So for example, the third is the third note. As easy as that. The 5th is the 5th note. The 7th has that tension back to the root. So you can hear already when you play these notes together, they have a different feel against each other. So that's really dead simple, depending on where you are on the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The 8th is back to the root. It's the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, and back to the root. It's easier than you think, actually. So, and also, like I said, we're actually thinking of the notes we're playing exactly. So, the 3rd of A is your C sharp. The 5th, that's an E. So you're thinking like that now as well, not only thinking, well, this is the 3rd, this is the 5th, but also what note it did as well. Now, this list then, you're looking at all this and you want to look at these 3-note chords or 4-note chords, and this will tell you the exact formula to create these chords. So for example, the first one, which is major, this consists of 1, 3, 5. So all that means is the root, the 3rd, and the 5th. What are the exact notes in A? A, C sharp, E. So when you're playing an A major, all it is just the root, the 3rd, and the 5th. Now, I must stress with all of these, it doesn't have to go root, 3rd, 5th, root, 3rd, 5th, etc. As long as it's them notes, and that's going to create the chord. So, for example, in an A major bar chord, if you work it out, you've got the root, then it's the 5th, and then the root again. That's the 3rd, that's the 5th, back to the root. So it actually goes in a different order, which is absolutely fine. But the main thing is that it consisting of the root, the 3rd, and the 5th, which makes up a major. When you're playing a minor chord, there's only one note difference, which is the 3rd, and it's a flattened 3rd. So when you see that little symbol next to the number 3, that means flat, which is flatten the note. So for example, instead of this sound, which is root, 3rd, 5th, you've got root, flat 3, 5, 5th, and instantly you can hear the minor sound. So that's what a minor chord is consisting of. Let's say like an A minor bar chord. If you break it down, you've got root, 5th, root, flat 3rd, 5th, root. And you can actually see that in the chord shape, can't you, obviously? So it's the difference between a major and the minor is just that taking off this middle finger. So that's just the 3rd flattened. So in an A minor, the triad, which is the 3-note chord, is A, C, A, So when you're soloing and you're playing over an A minor, we want to be hitting the notes A, C, E. They're going to be our sweet spot notes. Now, the next one, we're going a bit kooky now with augmented chords. Augmented chords is something you might not use every day, but when they do come up, you're thinking, well, how do I solo over these? Or even how do I play the chord? An augmented chord is easier than you think. It's just the root, the third, sharp 5. Now, once you've got that in your head, then you're in. Then you're in with it. So, what are the notes? In A, you've got A, C sharp, F, because, you know, the 5th is E, but now it's gone to an F. That's sharp 5. So, when you're playing this, you know, try the formula of 1, 3, sharp 5, maybe in a couple of octaves. So, you don't need to think rocket science. It's just, okay, there's you know, an A major scale. Okay, so there's my root. There's the 5th, sharp 5. Back to the root maybe. Root, 3rd. Now the 5th would be here, but it's a sharp 5. So going into this sound. And that there is a little augmented arpeggio. So you're also going to be able to work out arpeggios for your soloing. So when you're playing over a progression, an augmented chord comes up. Well, how do I treat that augmented chord? You know, that sound. Well, it's the sharp 5. The sharp 5 is an F. So when you're in A minor and an augmented chord would come up, let's say it was an A augmented, the note F would be the target note to aim for. Next very, very common one is diminished chords. Now that's root, flat 3, flat 5. Exactly the same sort of concept. So, you know, first two notes, root, flat 3, you'd think minor, but that flat 5 is the diminished sound. Okay, so what are the notes? A, C, okay, it's an E flat now. So when we're playing over a diminished chord, like an A diminished, we'd need to be aiming for that E flat. You know, this is also going to help you know where the notes are as well. Okay, where's my E flats? There's an E flat, 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 there's an E flat. So he's also thinking, well, where are my E flats, and, you know, how do I do this target note? So depending on where you're soloing, there's the diminished E flat. So that's based over an A diminished. Now, I can appreciate this already, you know, for some people might be a lot of information, but just taking it really steady and just studying each one of the relationships and how they build together creates the chord. And like I said, for soloing and improvising, this is also something that's really, really useful, and I find it so useful as well. You know, going back to the augmented, if someone said, okay, I'm doing an augmented chord, solo over that, you'd think, well, what do I do here? It's a bit of a, you know, it's a funny one, but all it is just the sharp 5, root 3rd, sharp 5. Easier than you think. And obviously this is a movable thing, so you can play this anywhere. So C augmented, there's the sharp 5. What are the notes? C, E, hitting that note, which is an A flat. So we're actually working up the little triad of an augmented C chord, C augmented. Now, after you've done those, you start going into 4 note chords, which is, you know, probably most of the time it tends to be a traditional triad, like 1, 3, 5, but with an extension. For example, a major 7, root, 3rd, 5th, that's major. Obviously it's called major 7, so we need to add in the 7th. Root, 3rd, 5th, 7th, and you can instantly hear the sound of that major 7th chord coming through. And you want to do this exact thing by sort of getting these notes underneath your fingers. Okay, what are the notes? A, C sharp, E, G sharp. So the major 7th is that G sharp. Now try the other octave. And that's a little A major 7 arpeggio. So you're working out arpeggios as well, which is great. This is a topic for another video, but chord tone soloing. Now, chord tone soloing is being very, very specific with your soloing. So when when you're playing a song and the key maybe is like A major 7, when you're soloing over that A major 7, you need to be hitting that target note, which is a G sharp. Because that's the major 7. So when you're soloing out over that chord, you could just use, a major scale. But as soon as you hit that G sharp, that's going to really bring out that major 7th sound. And obviously this is the same format for all of these chords and spelling out the chord tones exactly. Dominant 7th, it's another basic formula. Root 3, 5, which is major. But the flat 7 makes it a dominant 7th. Or a 7th chord, So a little arpeggio. What are the notes? A, C sharp, E. Okay, hit that G. So you're playing over an A7, and it's that G. That's the target note. That's the note we want to hit. Then you go to, more extensions. Excuse me. Augmented 7ths. You can think about it already. So augmented, that was root 3rd, sharp 5. But now we're adding in that flat 7 to make it an augmented 7th. I love it. Okay. So now, if you're playing an augmented 7th, that's root, that's the 3rd, sharp 5, which is the F, then a G, and you get this really great sound. Okay, augmented 7ths, great. So if you're soloing over an augmented chord, you want to bring out that sort of 7th tone, then that's what you do, hitting the G. You need to hit that F as well. That's that augmented sound. Sounds absolutely killer. Absolutely killer. I love it. Dominant 7 flat 5. That's another one. Now, you just got to think about it. Dominant 7th. What does that consist of? Root 3rd, 5th. That flat 7. Okay, that's that 4-note tone, but it's a flat 5. So now we've got the formula. All we need to do is that 5th, flatten it down one. So you've got root, 3rd, flat 5, flat 7. And that's how you do a dominant 7 flat 5. So if you're playing jazz and a dominant 7 flat 5 comes up, then these are the notes you need to be hitting. So what are the notes we're playing? A. Sorry, C sharp. Okay, you got that E flat, then the G. That's how you get the dominant 7 flat 5 sound. And finally, a very common chord, which is a minor 7. Now, once again, just think logically. Minor, what's that triad? Root, flat 3, 5. Minor 7. So if I'm making it a 7th, like a dominant 7th, I need to add in that flat 7. Okay, so let's work out the notes for that then. A minor 7 this is. Root, A, flat 3, C, 5th. Okay, the 5th was an E. flat 7, which is that G. So we're playing over an A minor 7, A, C, E, G. That'd make a minor 7 chord. So when you're soloing over a minor 7, we need to be hitting, you know, them notes obviously, but maybe specifically over an A minor, going down to that G. For that beautiful sound. So this is already a bunch of ideas and something you want to be practicing. Sitting here with this list of all these different chords and the tones that make up the chords, and think, okay, how can I play these chords? You know, work them out. Root, 3rd, 5th, that's major. Reminder that they don't have to be in that exact order. If you think of a D major chord, that's the 5th, that's the root, that's the 3rd. So a D major that we all know, obviously you can play the D string first, which is the root, then it goes the 5th, then the root, then the 3rd. That makes up a D major. So it really doesn't have to be in that exact order, but as long as it includes them notes, then you're in. Remember, obviously, for soloing, hitting these target notes. I'll make a future video talking about target notes and really spelling out chord tones in your solos, using the same sort of concept, but I can give you some really good exercises, which we'll do in the future. So see if you can give all that a try, and this is something that you don't learn in a week. It takes time, you know, you've got to just keep studying, but this will really, really help for the future when you need to play some chords, or if you're soloing and need to hit particular target notes, or if a kooky chord comes up, then you can think, okay, I can work this out. I'm not going to ignore it. I can do it. So give all that a try. Let me know if you have any questions. Hit that subscribe button, and I'll speak to you next time. Many thanks. Cheers.